Thinking outside the box, a fascinating theme. And maybe one, though, that is a little bit misunderstood from time to time. And today, that's what I would like to explore with you. Our perceptions of outside of the boxness. Our perceptions of the box and the way we think about the box. Now, when you look at these two words, thinking and the box, they don't actually, being an English language teacher, you know, we talk about collocations, connotations, they don't actually connotate. They don't go together. Because thinking is vast. It's everywhere. It's like the ocean. Whereas the box is the box. It is confined. It is static. It's immobile. And it's not vast. It's not everywhere. That is why we need the preposition there, thinking outside the box. We will come back to this, of course, and analyze it a bit more. But as Jülide mentioned, this is highly associated with what Guilford, the psychologist Guilford, refers to as the 9-dot puzzle. It was actually popularized by him in the 1960s. And again, as Jülide mentioned, the puzzle involves using or drawing 4 straight lines without lifting your pen or pencil. And of course, there are more than one solutions to this, one of them being this one. Now, this has been used a lot in business, in management, in leadership development, and in education. When we're young, when we're children, when we go to kindergarten, we can see this in terms of how our work and what we do and what we say, everything is appreciated. We know in life and from nature that fish usually swim together, don't they? It's actually called schools. Fish swim in schools. They sort of travel together, they swim together. But there's also times when they swim in different directions, as you can see in this picture. And this is what happens early on in our childhood. When we are young, we don't sort of swim together, we sort of go in different directions. I'd like to, at this stage, share with you a very short video before I move on. As you've probably noticed, I mean, we probably all know this song by heart, at least most of us. The lyrics weren't fully correct, were they? But you've noticed the joy, the happiness, the sense of achievement on his face. And how do you think he, his father as well, felt about this when he sang this like this? Of course, we were extremely happy. I mean, it was being recorded. This is my son when he was very young, Can Tarkan. Can Tarkan was very happy to sing the song and be recorded at the same time. He didn't have a problem with that. But at the same time, you know, he was free. He was living in the moment, singing the songs and not worrying about the lyrics. And maybe that's what he thought the song was. That's what he thought the words were, okay? So as parents, as teachers, what do we do with this? We applaud it. We appreciate it, every single energy and learning that goes into that, and the performance. I mean, a kid at that age, some of them don't like performing, yeah? And we appreciate, all the schools have end-of-year performances, you know, we applaud, our eyes fill with tears, and we're so, joyful. And my question is, there are no boxes then. What happens between this time of a sense of freedom, sense of achievement, sense of joy, sense of meanness and happiness, to a time when in schools, and this does happen still, unfortunately, we are even expected to do SWOT analysis. Do you know what SWOT analysis is? You've probably all heard. It's quite common in business, again, management and education. And even my son was asked to do this some years ago, as early as the age of 12. SWOT, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. And even saying it makes me so unhappy. When we're asked to do a SWOT analysis, we are being put into 4 boxes. You have your strengths, you have your weaknesses, you have your opportunities, and you have your threats. The problem I have with SWOT are 2 concepts in there. You can probably guess which ones. Weakness, out. I probably hardly ever use that term. I'm also involved in teacher training a lot. I've worked with teachers for very, very long years. And that's one of the first things I say to them. Get the word weakness out of your dictionary. There are no weaknesses. There are only areas for further development. We only have areas for further development. We do not have weaknesses. And the same goes for threats. Why should my son or any student have to think in terms of threats? What are the threats around me? Why? Instead, I would propose, and I do, promote this a lot with my colleagues and with other people I work with, this sort of approach, where we look at our strengths, where we look at opportunities, and where we look at challenges. As you can see, there's no threats there. There's no weaknesses. All there is challenges, like this event. I've given many, many presentations, but this is the first of its kind for me, because I'm not used to not looking at my slides. And I'm not used to, okay, yes, there's always a time limit, but I'm not used to, this short a presentation. It's a challenge. And like dear Esat, I wasn't able to sleep well for a couple of nights either. So, it is a challenge. So what do you do with the challenge? You embrace it. You have to go beyond your comfort zone. We're all so happy in our comfort zones. It's so nice to be there, don't touch me, I'm okay. But we do have to go beyond it. And that's why I don't believe in the concept of weakness. It's just a matter of trying to reach towards that challenge and go beyond in that, so that we can embrace the opportunities. Because when we step out of that comfort zone, if this is my comfort zone, I step out of it, then I'm going to see all the opportunities around me and hopefully grab them, at least several of them. I've noticed now I'm looking at the slides over there. Good technique, Deniz. Instead of thinking outside the box, maybe we can explore a bit more concepts like lateral thinking. And by that, what is meant, you probably know about Bono, Edward de Bono, but there's many others as well, is looking at an issue, a problem, a case, a situation from many, many different angles. Lateral thinkers collect lots of information in order to generate ideas, in order to generate thought patterns. And I think that's beautiful. So you don't sort of sit there and think, I'm a lateral thinker. well done. No. You have to do your research. You have to find out lots of information. You have to read. You have to talk to people. You have to gain experiences and reflect on those experiences and then generate ideas and thought patterns from those experiences. So I think that's really useful as a term, lateral thinkers, trying to explore from different angles. And that's exactly what we need to do with the box. We need to ask questions. We need to ask all sorts of questions. Now, the question words you see on there are just some of the, can help us ask some of the questions only. There are many, many more. Well, first of all, I would ask, what box? What box? Which box are we talking about? Whose box is this? I mean, you're asking me, let's say we're in an educational meeting and the director says, or the manager says, okay guys, let's think outside the box. Well, who is saying this? Why are they saying this? What are they referring to when they say outside the box? What is the box? When is this happening? Is it at the beginning of the year? After a major event? Or a serious problem that has occurred? So what is this box therefore referring to? How is our approach? What is the approach we're going to take to explore this box? Is the box open? Or is it closed? And where are we with respect to the box? And that's why I think when we say thinking outside the box, or let's think outside the box, that maybe we are not giving adequate importance to exploring within and around the box. Because in order to think outside the box, I would argue that we have to know the box. We have to know the situation. We have to know the mindset. We have to know, if it's a process, the process. If it's related to an event, we need to know about this event, the issue, the case, whatever it is. Without this environment, thinking outside the box or going outside the box, I would argue, is not going to be healthy. Now, unfortunately, most often in schools, what happens, including mine, I mean, it's a great school, and this is a great school, but we all do it. In education especially, you know, okay, let's try this, and we scrap something and start all over again. Ah, this is not working. Okay, well, what are we going to do? Let's implement it. When? Next week. Next week? Yeah, we can do it. Come on, you know. So we sort of start new things. We worry about effectiveness, quite rightly, but at the expense of things that work sometimes. And that's what I'm saying, inviting everyone to look at more carefully. We do not want to throw away what works or the good things at the expense of, oh, we have to come up with an entirely new idea. So asking these questions is going to help us explore the way we think. And that has to be done, I think, both individually and at a collective level, a collaborative level. Well, should we ditch the box maybe completely and say, well, there is no box. There is no box. Or should we play with it? I would suggest the latter. Because there is a box, let's face it. I just told you about Can Tarkan. You saw the video, and getting to a stage where he's asked to do, along with other students, a SWOT analysis. Well, we know about that, yeah? We end up in boxes, whether we like it or not. TEOG, although I think the name has changed now, the university exam, we have so many exams. Therefore, we have to fit into some patterns, whether they're boxes or whatever shape, triangles, circles, etc. okay? But still, instead of ditching the box completely, I think a healthier way is to explore the box, play with the box, and let our creativity flow instead of stressing ourselves about, I've got to think outside the box. No, why? So I've got a gift for you. It's not a box, because box is static. It's a parcel. And the parcel represents, my gift to you represents, of course there is a box inside, but it's not a static box. And this gift is also a gift to myself, that I remind myself all the time. Parcel, the P, is for persistence. I love that word. Perseverance and persistence, not giving up. I don't mean, you know, to the extent that you get frustrated and you feel really upset, no. But not giving up and trying to look at different angles and opportunities, if necessary, talking to others, learning from them, reflecting, traveling, reflecting on your travels, talking to nature, exploring and observing everything that's happening around you in order to achieve your goal, but persevering and not giving up. The A of the parcel, appreciation. I can't stress this enough. I don't know if you've heard the name David Cooperrider, 1970s, one of the founders of the approach appreciative inquiry. And this is an approach to change which believes in the idea that every individual has strengths and every individual has a lot of potential, just like organizations or institutions. So we need to appreciate, in education as well, every day, what is already working, please. And unfortunately, my observations around me tell me that that is often not the case. We forget. We sort of say, yeah, tamam, okay, that's nice, but, you know, we need to do, well, hang on a second. No, tamam değil. We have to explore that and congratulate ourselves for achieving that so well and not forget it. The R of the parcel is for receptivity. Too often we might close ourselves to the world. We have to be open. If I'm not open as a teacher, as a manager, as a leader, as a business person, I'm not going to learn. Forget about thinking outside the box. I'm not going to learn. The C is co-creation. Everything we do in life is co-created. Even when we're alone, you're still doing something. You're thinking. Maybe you're looking at a tree, you're interacting with the nature. Maybe you're reading a book, you're interacting with the text. And of course, many social settings that we are in, including educational settings, we co-create. And that's beautiful for thinking outside the box. The E is maybe one of the most important ones in parcel, in my gift to you and to myself, effectiveness. I would say it doesn't really matter if an idea is 100% original. I would say it does matter, however, that it is effective. That is what we need to seek, effectiveness in our work. Now, if it's additionally original or totally new, bravo. But if not, why stress ourselves? It's working, and it's going well, and that should be our aim. And with all of that, hopefully, we have the L of the parcel, which is learning. So, my final words, this is back to Can Tarkan when he was only a couple of years old, and you can see him sitting in a very small room. This was actually a very small room with a closet in it where we put linen and towels. And this was his space. He would go in there with Sylvester, his soft toy, his favorite soft toy at the time. He would sing to himself, he would talk to either himself or Sylvester, and he'd come out happy, but he would want that door closed. He was in a box, but he was being productive and he was happy in there. So there will be times when we will be in the box, and we should explore in the box. Let us not always think outside the box. I know that's our theme, but we need to know what box we are talking about. Thank you.